It was that simple, the math, right?
Wow.
But then, the 15-year lease is essential. And then I also have a provision in my contracts where if we go under a certain amount of sales per year, we can get out of the lease.
Okay.
So, if my restaurant does less than $3 million a year, then I can get out.
You can get out.
So those provisions can't be made.
And is there like a, breakup fee or something like that you guys got to do?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I know chefs that go into business with the owner of the building, and they're partners in it.
Okay, yeah.
And that works sometimes. For me, it's important to kind of just look at, the liability, who's responsible for the upkeep of the space. If I'm investing in the space and I don't own it per se, then, you got to make those decisions,
Yeah. Land ownership changes too.
Exactly.
And expectations change when that happens.
Yeah. But I've done stuff like this where I've said to my landlord, I said, look, I'll invest in getting new banquettes. I'll redo the floor. I'll redo the ceiling, but you just can't raise the rent on me.
Yeah.
Or give me 6 months off of rent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's ways of doing that.
So do you put like tenant improvements in there as well, where they'll front you some cash, right? Where you'll bring your own cash, right? And then, they'll give you some tenant improvements or some TI or something like that.
The TI is always important. And then, all the key money, the FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and equipment. I always tell that the key money is probably the better move for a young person starting out. Okay. Meaning, you're going to come in there, it's a fledgling restaurant, they have a 10-year lease, they only made it through a year, give them $200,000 in cash for everything as it is. And then you assume the lease, not the debt, but the lease.
The lease, yeah.
And then you start a new LLC and you kind of just take over the operations.
Yeah.
So that's what I would suggest if you were young starting out.
Yeah. You don't want to assume the liability of the existing company.
Exactly.
You're going to start your own LLC and you're going to get their assets. So it's an asset sale.
Exactly.
And it's an assumed asset sale.
Exactly.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. How do you find deals like that?
Well, I mean, that's a good question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question. Look, what I'm doing now, I mean, it's just because I'm in a different stage in my life and my career. Like, I say this every year. I'm like, shit, I'm not going to open another damn restaurant. I'm not opening it. Okay, what do we do? We'll open it two.
Another one.
And yeah. So now I'm chasing what you call licensing deals.
Yeah.
But just to answer your question, how do you find those? Well, I like to, when I go see a landlord or I go to a restaurant that I like a lot and it's very successful, I ask, like, who's the landlord? And ideally, you want to get in business with a person that has multiple spaces. Why is that important? Because if you have a good relationship and good results with that landlord and you're making money and you're raising his property value up, chances are they're going to offer you one of his other spaces that he has.
Yeah.
So then that way you can grow with somebody and then they have your best interest in mind and their own.
Yeah,
honestly.
they know you'll perform.
Yeah, so I guess, the way you find those deals out there is you got to kind of just engage different landowners and maybe go with some people that that have existing operating places that are doing well and find out who's behind it.
Yeah, and your reputation matters as well, right?
Yes.
You have to be able to show, hey, here's my P&L, my balance sheet, right? And totally. I know how to do this.
Yeah. And I've gotten really good at like understanding what deals to chase.
Yeah.
Now the deals that I really go after now are licensing deals, right? Because I have a name.